day, Tamers. Welcome back to some more deck profiles of me, Gear Swiftly, as we're now heading into the beautiful Ultimate Cup, technically mono-ish coloured deck format. Yes, there's definitely some decks out there that can get away with having multiple colours, but for the most part, it's going to be single monocolours that are going to be ruling the roost. Today we're looking at Commandramon, or D-Brigade. Before we carry on this video though, you should be so kind as to like and subscribe if you're not, or if you're new to the channel. It does help us out greatly, as we are looking forward to that 1,000 subscriber mark this year. That being said though, let's just jump into this with the D-Brigade boys doing the D-Brigade thing. Pagumon. This is your baby. There's not necessarily better options than this currently. Now, if we had like a Missymon that did something very similar, it'd be great. You can use Missymons if you want just more DP, and then I think there's a Missymon that does very similar things to like the Coromon stuff, which is like if you got something in the same name as this, gain 5,000 DP. Pagumon is very good though, because if you didn't notice about D-Brigade, you're not just throwing yourself into chaos. By chaos I mean to security or other things. You die. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's black, put it to your hand. Otherwise, place it at the bottom of your deck. Now, this is specifically Digimon, so if you do find a Tamer or an option card, you'll be putting that to the bottom of the deck, unfortunately. But let's jump into it. Commandramon. We do run 4 different Commandramon names here. You don't have to run these specific ones if you don't want to. These are just the easiest ones that people like to use, as I've seen throughout my gameplays. You can use 1 or 2 of the decoys if you really want to, because someone's going to die. And normally this is to protect your Darkdramons, but at the same time you don't really care if your Darkdramons die, because as long as they've got a way of getting back out again, or throwing things back into your deck, it's not too bad. 2-cost Commandramon is fantastic. The amount of times that you'll do this and you'll put your opponent into some kind of like brain fog because they don't understand how you've done such a thing. How could you? Is really good. And you will generally have 2 or 3 of these per game. They just turn up out of nowhere for the hell of it because they can. Commandramon on deletion effect is amazing because there are ways of getting out of a sorted with rush, and you'll see in the future as we get down there. With the undeletion of your top 3 cards of your deck, you may play 1 Commandramon amongst them without paying its memory cost. Place remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Having access to the free blocker, having access to the big chunky boy, helps. They really do help. Next, we move on to the BT5 Commandramon, which is the blocker. Now, it does cost 4, but you can always put it on top of your Pagumon. Because when it dies, it doesn't matter, the undeletion effect will still trigger. Having someone just essentially block a move for a turn is pretty good. Hagurimon here is something that I don't necessarily play myself, but is a very good card nonetheless. On play, you may trash 1 card with machine or sideboard in its traits from your hand, draw 2. Funny enough, all of your monsters are either machines or cyborgs, and the majority of them are also just D-Brigade. Drawing 2 is pretty good in this deck because you do sometimes end up having no cards in hand, just with how you throw out Commandramons as if it's Marty Gruel. Going down to the big chunky boy here from ST5. This Commandramon here is essentially the one you always want to put into your breeding area. It costs 4 to play. Again, depending on the situation, you might want to just throw this one down if you've got memory to spend and you don't know what to do with it. Having 5,000 DP. This one doesn't necessarily die that often into security, but he's a big chunky boy. Silvermon is the new one from the EX3 set. Thank God we got some support. This Silvermon here has jamming. It's pretty good. Having jamming is fairly good if you don't want this one to specifically die, especially if you want to swing with it and then digivolve into Tankramon, which we'll get to in a second. But your turn, once per turn, when you play another D-Brigade in its traits, it gains a rush for the turn. Fun fact, if you play the Omnimon Zwart, that lets you throw out 2, they would both gain rush, because it's a trigger of when singular, but because they both hit the field at the same time, they would both gain the rush, which is fairly good. You're not going to swing for that turn, because it costs you 6 to go into that poor Omnimon, but nonetheless, it's there if you need it to be. Moving on to the Tankramon here, digivolving up. With the top 3 cards of your deck, you may play 1 Digimon card with D-Brigade in traits and a play cost of 5 or less amongst them without paying its cost. Trash the rest. I mean, you're running a D-Brigade deck. You like your trash full of D-Brigade names, and you have access to the Sealsramon with jamming, you've got access to the expensive Commandramon, you've got access to the very expensive-ish blocker, and then you've got your 2 other ones as well. Hey, the undeletion there gets to swing for free and dies. Hey, you play another Commandramon. We move on to the original bad boy that made a lot of issues happen because of rush is a fun terminology. Remember, if you gain rush, the stack gets it. If you have rush, you have it. Digimon, on play. Return to 5 cards with D-Brigade in their types from your trash to the top of your deck in any order. And for each card you return this way, gain 2 memory. Now, this can obviously be circumvented with the stinky memory stoppers. But generally, if they're not on the field, you just get to go to your turn, probably start at free memory, throw this on the field, put 5 D-Brigades back to the top of your deck, swing with rush. If you don't die, you've got a big body for next turn. Pretty good. You can also run the new Dark Dramon, which is when you would digivolve this card, you return 5 cards to D-Brigade in their traits from the trash to the top of your deck, reducing the devolution cost by 1 for each card returned this way. Your turn. Once per turn. With D-Brigade in its traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a less than or equal to the Digimon you played, and unsuspend this Digimon. Funny enough, Dark Dramon, the old one, is 13k. 99% of Digimon, I think, in this format. I don't think there's any 14 drops there could be. So you swing with this Dark Dramon, hopefully you got free memory, throw this down, delete something for 13, unsuspend again, and then swing with the Dark Dramon. Of course, you can also do the 2-cost one if you want to. If your opponent's got like somehow got a 2-cost Digimon on the field, which is very unlikely, but more likely to have a 3-cost on the field, you just go from there. Then we go to the option cards. We have DG Dimension. This is one of the new cards from BT11. People aren't too sure if this is good or not. DG Evolve 1. 3 of your opponent's Digimon. I'm not sure if this is meant to be up to, but this possibly is also a chance of has to be minimum of 3. If there's more than 3, obviously. You can also reduce the cost of this if you've got a black Tamer in by 1, so it becomes a 7 cost. Then, delete 3 of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 6 or less. This isn't stupidly amazing, but this will work out in certain decks where you don't de-digivolve anything because it's the only thing on the field, but because it will probably have a 6 or less cost, you just wipe the board of their rookies. Very interesting in the mirror match because a lot of your D-Brigades are 6 or less, and then you just put all their D-Brigades in the trash and they go, okay then, and then start smashing things in with Dark Dramon. It is fun. 2 Dark Roars. Main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 3 or less. For each of your Digimon with D-Brigade in its traits, add +1 to the maximum play cost of the Digimon you can choose with this effect. It's a free cost, and it's a pretty good deletion. The amount of times that you'll have like 3 or 4 D-Brigades on the field, making this 7 cost, is pretty good, and that deletes a lot of the ultimates. Ultimate Flare, an old one but a good one. Trigger, did you free on one of your opponent's Digimon, and then delete all of your opponent's Digimon with play cost of 3 or less. This obviously hasn't seen a lot of play when it comes to the big X-antibody decks because you don't normally get down to where their stuff costs 3 or less. But de-aging something by 3 is probably more important than the deleting things. It does go a long way. Primary Boost. Reveal top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 black Digimon card with play cost of 4 or less amongst them without paying their memory cost. Trash the many cards, then place this card in your battle area. You can play it. 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 So yeah, all of your rookies can be played. And then you trash the rest. So if you somehow go like, I don't know, got a Hagori, you got a Commandra, and you got a Commandra, you can trash these 2. You can play this. You can trash another card for the on-play effect. And just fill your trash really quickly. That's why Primary Boost is so good. And then the following turn you gain 2 memory. Quick Blast Fire Father. This is from the ST12 Jesmo Structure deck. If you've got a Digimon with Hookmon system on its name or Roll Knights its traits in play, you may use this card using its color common. We're playing a black deck, so that doesn't necessarily matter for us. But delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 13 or less. Again, 99.9% of the Digimon that we can play currently during this tournament phase will be 13 or less, which means it's always active, and it's active the same way in security. So if your opponent swings with their big monster, boom, headshot. Playing 2 Izzies and 2 Kazoo. You could change this to 4 and 0 or 1 and 3, but I like 2 and 2. Or you could also just change like these up. So some people don't like having multiple of these. So you might go 1, 1, 1, 1. Then you can run 4 of these if you want to. This is totally down to you how you feel. So of your turn, if you have 2 memory or less, go to 3. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If all of the revealed cards are black, gain 1 memory. Place the cards on top of the deck in any order. This is really good if you do need to find the key piece, which could even be you need something to get rid of something on the field. You want a Prime Memory Boost. Because obviously you can see what your next 2 cards after the Prime Memory Boost is. If you literally go, okay, draw, move out, kill my things, nothing happens, Prime Memory Boost. Oh, I know that I'm going to get at least 1 target in the next like slot. Throw it down. Go for it. And then Kazoo's here is just really good because it synergizes with the Cyborg and Machine stuff in play. The start of your turn, if you've got Digimon with these traits in play, you gain a memory. They're all Cyborgs. And he's a machine, so you're always going to get access to at least 1 memory. And then when this Digimon Cyborg or Machine traits become suspended, So when you're attacking or when you're blocking, you may tap this to draw a card and then trash a card from your hand. Again, this deck loves to be in the trash due to these two cards, so don't worry about trashing your stuff so much. It's one of the very few non-purple decks that goes, hey, trash is good. But that's it for this, guys. If you have more interesting tech choices than this, let me know. Some people do want to play just the singles of these and then play 2 or 3 or even 4. Black memory boost. That way you just got more access to more memory. But again, due to what we're playing currently, you're going to have a lot of memory stoppers. So these aren't so great for the memory sections. This is just a really good card because you're generally playing something for free or filling your trash for these cards here. But we'll see you guys soon for the next video. Peace out and goodbye, and D-Brigade for the win.